These are the mysterious ruins of Puma Punku, high in the Altiplano of Bolivia. It's made out of gigantic blocks of sandstone and granite.
What if Puma Punku was never meant to look like this at all? High in the Bolivian highlands, nearly 13,000 feet above the ocean, lies a collection of stone blocks that defies easy explanation. Not an ornate shrine, not a grand fortress, just fragments of andesite and sandstone strewn across a desolate plateau near Lake Titicaca. This is Puma Punku, meaning the gateway of the puma in the indigenous tongue. And these stones are far from typical. They represent some of the most accurately carved, geometrically flawless, perfectly engineered stone pieces ever found. Pieces that appear machine fabricated. Pieces featuring sophisticated mortise and tenon connections that would test contemporary craftsmen. Pieces weighing upward of 130 tons, hauled from distant quarries across landscapes that would cripple modern lifting equipment. Puma Punku has served as the ultimate example for theories involving extraterrestrial visitors, vanished super civilizations, and out-of-place technological artifacts. The accuracy is so remarkable and the construction so advanced that it has become synonymous with ancient enigmas beyond our grasp. But in 2025, the narrative transformed. Breakthrough archaeological findings, cutting-edge three-dimensional laser mapping, and careful re-examination of the scattered remains have uncovered something surprising. The enigma of Puma Punku is fundamentally different from what everyone assumed, and the actual explanation is strangely more captivating than any alien hypothesis. Let us begin with measurable facts, because the accuracy at Puma Punku is truly extraordinary. The H-shaped blocks, so named for their aerial profile, display dimensional precision that unsettles professional engineers. These enormous andesite pieces feature perfectly smooth surfaces, exact 90-degree corners, and intricate channels carved with stunning consistency. When scientists measured these blocks using precision equipment, they discovered surface flatness within 1 to 2 millimeters across spans of several feet. The corners measure square to within tiny fractions of a degree. Dr. Alexei Vranich, an archaeologist from UCLA who has extensively researched Tiwanaku and Puma Punku, observed that the precision is extraordinary. These stones are not roughly hewn. The surfaces are finished to standards matching modern masonry work. But here is the puzzling part. Andesite is volcanic rock with a Mohs hardness rating of 6 to 7, harder than most iron implements. The Tiwanaku civilization that constructed Puma Punku between 500 and 600 AD did not possess steel. They worked with copper, bronze, and stone implements. Cutting andesite with the precision visible at Puma Punku using bronze implements would require generations of continuous labor for individual blocks, yet dozens of these precision-carved stones lie scattered throughout the location. The blocks also incorporate complex three-dimensional shapes engineered for mechanical interlocking. Several feature precisely carved interior corners, perfect 90-degree angles within recessed sections. Creating an interior right angle in hard volcanic stone is exponentially more challenging than fashioning an external one. Contemporary stonemasons examining these interior corners have openly admitted they would struggle replicating them without diamond-tipped equipment and powered machinery. Then consider the perforations, perfectly round holes bored through solid andesite, some penetrating completely through blocks exceeding 1 foot in thickness. The holes maintain uniform diameter with smooth interior walls and consistent depth. Certain blocks display multiple holes arranged in precise geometric configurations as though designed for some fastening mechanism. The accepted explanation states that Tiwanaku craftsmen employed tube drills constructed from reed or bamboo combined with sand and water as grinding slurry. They rotated the tube, the sand abraded the stone, and eventually a perforation formed. The method works through experimental archaeology, but the process is extraordinarily time-consuming. Creating a single hole might require days or weeks of uninterrupted effort, and Puma Punku contains dozens of holes across multiple blocks, all demonstrating remarkable uniformity in diameter and straightness. That degree of consistency implies either exceptional quality standards or some standardized methodology not fully understood. Now, consider the blocks themselves, particularly their mass. The largest blocks at Puma Punku weigh approximately 130 tons, as much as a fully loaded commercial airliner. Most precision-cut pieces weigh between 10 and 80 tons. The closest quarry for red sandstone sits roughly 10 kilometers distant. The andesite source lies even farther, approximately 90 kilometers away, across Lake Titicaca on the Copacabana Peninsula. The Tiwanaku people possess no wheels, at least none archaeologists have discovered. They had no beasts of burden capable of hauling such loads. There exists no evidence of the infrastructure such operations would necessitate: no transport ramps, no roller tracks, no staging platforms. It is not impossible. Humans have relocated massive stones throughout history through ingenuity and determination. But the scale at Puma Punku, combined with altitude, terrain, and absence of visible infrastructure, makes it genuinely perplexing. Here's the mistake everyone has been making for decades.
This is where the 2025 discoveries become crucial. For decades, Puma Punku has been portrayed as a mystery of precision stonework and impossible engineering. Recent archaeological investigations have uncovered something critical that transforms the entire story. Most visible remains at Puma Punku today are not in their original locations. The site suffered catastrophic destruction at some point in history. The precision blocks are not positioned where they fell when the structure collapsed. They have been relocated, dispersed, and in certain instances, deliberately repositioned by subsequent cultures, Spanish colonizers, and even modern railway construction teams who exploited Puma Punku as a convenient stone source. Doctors Jean-Pierre Protzen and Stella Nair from the University of California studied the location extensively and published findings that astonished many scholars. They cautioned that the present configuration of Puma Punku reveals virtually nothing about the original architecture. What observers see today is essentially a dismantled puzzle scattered across the site by natural catastrophes, human interference, and centuries of disturbance. Radiocarbon analysis of organic materials discovered in mortar and fill at the location has consistently produced dates around 536 to 600 AD, placing Puma Punku's construction firmly within the Tiwanaku civilization's peak. But here is the critical detail. Evidence indicates the site was violently destroyed shortly after completion, possibly by seismic activity or catastrophic flooding. The blocks show impact damage, stress fractures, and signs of having endured tremendous forces. Some researchers have suggested that a sudden flood from Lake Titicaca, potentially triggered by earthquake activity, swept across the site, scattering blocks and demolishing the original structure. This would explain why the blocks appear chaotic rather than organized. They are not in construction formation because they are not where they were originally positioned. We are observing the aftermath of disaster, not a building site or intact ruin.
Now, here is where it becomes fascinating. In 2025, a research team using advanced 3D laser scanning and photogrammetry mapped every visible block at Puma Punku with millimeter-level accuracy. They then employed AI-assisted analysis to identify matching surfaces, complementary angles, and potential connection points. What they discovered was remarkable. The blocks fit together. Not all of them. Many are missing or destroyed, but sufficient quantities remain to digitally reconstruct portions of the original structure. And when assembled correctly, something unexpected materializes. The structure was not a temple or palace in traditional terms. It was a massive platform, an elevated terrace with precisely fitted stone facing designed to support something above it.
The H blocks that everyone emphasizes, they were not the primary structure. They were facing stones, architectural cladding covering a core of rougher stonework and earthfill. The precision blocks formed the exterior finish, like marble veneer on contemporary buildings. The actual structure beneath employed more conventional techniques, compacted earth, rubble fill, and less precisely cut stone. The extraordinary precision was reserved for visible surfaces, creating an impressive exterior while utilizing practical construction methods for the platform's bulk. This clarifies much. It explains why we observe precision blocks but not precision buildings, because the structures standing atop the platform were constructed from adobe, timber, and other degradable materials that vanished centuries ago. It explains why blocks show such consistency. They were manufactured as a standardized facing system, like tiles or panels, engineered to fit together in specific arrangements. And it explains the interlocking features. These blocks were not simply stacked, they were designed to clamp together, creating facing that could withstand seismic activity and resist displacement. The complex angles and interior grooves were not ornamental, they were structural, preventing facing stones from sliding apart when ground shook. The interlocking mechanisms matter. The precision was not random, it was engineering. Sophisticated earthquake-resistant engineering designed to create a stable platform in one of Earth's most seismically active regions. But this generates new questions. If Tiwanaku people could engineer earthquake-resistant platforms using precision interlocking stone systems, where did that expertise originate? There exists no evidence of developmental stages, no simpler versions leading to Puma Punku's sophistication. The site appears fully developed with techniques seemingly without regional precedent. Dr. Vranich suggests that Tiwanaku culture had a longer developmental timeline than previously recognized, with earlier construction phases using similar techniques not yet fully excavated or identified. But that remains speculation. What we observe is the final result, a highly sophisticated building system that appeared, flourished briefly, and then disappeared after the site's destruction. The tool question still puzzles researchers. Even understanding what the blocks were for, we do not completely understand how they were made. Some researchers have proposed that Tiwanaku people used harder stone tools, basalt or diorite hammers and grinding stones, to dress andesite surfaces. Others suggest they used combinations of pecking, grinding, and polishing over extended periods, achieving precision through patience rather than technology.
In 2025, microscopic examination of tool marks on certain blocks revealed something unexpected. Evidence of both percussive impacts and rotational motion. The percussive marks match stone hammers. The rotational marks, circular scratches in precise patterns, suggest some drilling or grinding technique using rotational motion. This does not mean they possessed power tools. It means they might have used bow drills, pump drills, or other manually operated rotational devices combined with abrasive materials to shape and smooth stone. These are known technologies from ancient cultures worldwide, but deploying them at this scale, with this consistency, still represents a remarkable organizational and technical accomplishment. Here is what 2025 research truly reveals. Puma Punku is evidence of human engineering brilliance applied to a specific challenge, building earthquake-resistant structures at high altitude in a seismically active zone using locally available materials. The Tiwanaku people developed a standardized system of precision-cut facing stones that could interlock to resist seismic forces. They transported massive blocks using methods not fully reconstructed, but those methods were clearly within human capabilities, even if impressively ambitious. They achieved precision through techniques that were time-consuming and labor-intensive, but not impossible. The mystery is not that ancient people could not have accomplished this. The mystery is that they executed it so expertly, apparently without a lengthy developmental period, and then lost the capability after the culture collapsed around 1000 AD. That is more intriguing than any alternative explanation. It suggests that sophisticated technical knowledge can emerge, flourish briefly, and then vanish, not because it originated from otherworldly sources, but because the specific social, economic, and cultural conditions that supported it were fragile and did not survive civilization's collapse. After Tiwanaku fell, the region fragmented into smaller kingdoms. The organizational capacity to mobilize thousands of workers for massive building projects disappeared. The specialist knowledge held by master stonecutters was lost when those specialists died without comprehensively passing it forward. Later cultures built differently because they could not replicate what Tiwanaku had achieved, not because Tiwanaku had external assistance, but because the knowledge was never fully preserved or transmitted. We observe the same pattern globally. Roman concrete remains superior until modern times. Damascus steel was never perfectly reproduced. Greek fire burned on water and was lost forever. These were not impossible technologies. They were human innovations that disappeared when the specific cultural and technical conditions that created them ceased to exist. Puma Punku is that pattern written in stone. Extraordinary human achievement created by people who understood engineering principles we respect today, built with patience and skill we struggle to imagine, and lost when the culture that created it collapsed. But there remains one detail that genuinely troubles researchers: the uniformity. Even accepting everything above, the level of standardization is unusual. The H-blocks are not just similar, some are almost identical in dimensions, despite being carved from different stone pieces. The holes are consistently sized, the angles are reliably square. This suggests quality control, manufacturing standards. Some centralized planning ensured blocks produced by different work teams would fit together in final assembly. That level of organizational sophistication, the ability to standardize production across multiple work sites and maintain quality assurance, is what truly impresses modern engineers. It is not magic, it is management. Project management on a scale that required bureaucracy, planning, measurement systems, and quality oversight. The kind of administrative infrastructure we associate with complex civilizations, but rarely consider when picturing ancient stonework. The 2025 research has not eliminated Puma Punku's mysteries. We still do not know exactly how the largest blocks were transported. We cannot fully replicate the precision cutting with reconstructed ancient tools. We can approximate it, but matching it exactly remains difficult. We have not found architectural plans or construction records that would definitively answer how it was built. What we have learned is this: the site was a platform, not a temple. The blocks were facing stones, not the entire structure. The precision was functional earthquake engineering, not arbitrary perfection. The techniques were human, not extraterrestrial, and the chaos we see today results from catastrophic destruction, not the original configuration. Puma Punku was built by humans, impressive, brilliant, patient humans who developed sophisticated engineering solutions to specific problems and executed them with remarkable skill. The mystery is not that we cannot explain how they did it. We can explain most of it even if we cannot perfectly replicate it. The mystery is that they did it once at a level of sophistication that their region would not see again for over 1,000 years, and then the knowledge vanished as thoroughly as if it had never existed. That is evidence of how fragile human knowledge is, how dependent it is on unbroken chains of transmission from masters to students, on social stability, and on economic conditions that allow specialization. Puma Punku stands as a monument not to impossible ancient technology, but to human capability at its peak and the tragedy of knowledge lost. The stones are not alien. They are deeply human, a permanent record of what we can achieve when we push ourselves to the limit, and a sobering reminder of how easily those achievements can slip away when civilizations fall. The 2025 revelations did not solve every mystery, but they did something more important. They brought Puma Punku back into the realm of human history where it belongs. not as an unsolvable enigma requiring extraordinary explanations, but as an extraordinary achievement by ordinary humans who were far more capable than we give them credit for. That is the real mystery finally solved. Puma Punku is not proof that ancient people needed help from advanced civilizations or alien visitors. It is proof that they did not.